Hey, what's going on? Thanks for coming to my channel. My name is Mike Otterbein. This is Thought Pill, and this is where I just discuss some of the more technical aspects of the things that I do. Right now, I'm into software. I'm working on an Android project, and I was asked some questions regarding how communications work, and communications are an interesting thing because sometimes they don't work always, right? Sometimes they fail, sometimes we make mistakes of settings. So sometimes when we go to set out to make something happen, a lot of times things naturally just aren't going to work in the situation with communication. So by virtue of that, nearly everything that you do is asynchronous. So that just makes it a little bit more to think about, makes it more interesting, right? So what I want to do is I want to make a video on how I deal with that and how I do communications. It's to me, communications has been an evolving art form for me for years, because I started doing it with serial ports, and then of course you move on to other things like TCP. And just a variety of other things, maybe moving things back and forth between maybe a JSON file or something, or XML, or you just all kinds of transforms of data. So blah 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 blah. Anyway, so the point of this video is I want to pick up where I left off with the MVVM, how to create an MVVM app, and I just want to add into that exact app, which is available on GitHub, and I believe that link is over there on that video. I'll put it below too. I'm going to be taking sips of water, and because I keep trying to do this video, I keep anyway, so it's definitely can't be perfect, so just bear with me, all right, or whatever. Anyway, so here we go. So where we last left off in that video was we created this MVVM app, and just to really quickly refresh, one of the magic things about that app, one of the really nice things about that app are these I just clicked on the wrong thing, are the interfaces that we're using. And basically there's primarily two interfaces involved. So iCommand, and then in the view model there was the iNotify property change, which is encapsulated in the base. Right, let's go ahead and go to the base. iNotify property change, right? And basically this iNotify property change is all this stuff. It involves basically sending up notifications of when properties change. All types of properties. Literally types of properties, right? So let's go back to our view model, right? Our view model, remember, is just the thing that it's the calculator or the the video scanner, or whatever thing that we're working on. That has nothing to do with really UI or anything. It's just where the guts of our thinking is in the view model. So we don't want to clutter up our view model with a bunch of stuff, right? So and we've been able to do that. We've created this view model class that'll take care of the iNotify property change, and now all we have to do is do this set property, for a this set property method for our properties that we create in our model, and then that will take care of all of the notifications. And then by the same token, we have our commands. And remember, commands are really, so there's two aspects. There's methods and then there's properties. So we were just talking about the properties. Commands take care of the commands. In this case, we're just calling these simple methods over here, but the commands could be any sort of set of commands and any sort of methods that we want to call, right? So that's just sort of setting up where we left off. And of course, interfaces are a beautiful thing because they sort of create an outline for sort of ground rules for everybody, right? Big or small players in the game have to conform to the interface once we define them. Okay, so let me come back here and start talking about communication. So here's our view model, right? I just kind of was like 89 takes of this, and I ended up with some stuff written here. I need some more water. Okay, so we have our view model. I know I'm going to slurp, right? It's terrible. We got this view model thing here, which is our class that we were just looking at, our basic simple class, but we want to add the ability to communicate back and forth with it. We want to send data out, we want to send data in. And just in a real world sense, we're thinking we're going to be talking to Wi-Fi, maybe, or maybe we're going to have a wire running from the PC to some serial thing, maybe like a serial printer on a cash register is exactly this, or maybe we got a Bluetooth. Now the Bluetooth is on a PC is really going to be wrapped up in the serial port. So on a PC situation, Bluetooth really doesn't matter because it will be a serial port. On an Android, however, Bluetooth will be a different device that you will have to write code for. Okay, but we're not dealing with that right now, but I just wanted to have it here as an example. So how do we do this? Again, we do this by creating an interface that will be called I'm shortening it. Com device. It's communication device, right? So this is the thing. The ICOM device is what these guys have to know, what this guy has to know. You know, this is the central thing. Sometimes I remember, I haven't heard it a lot, but this has been referred to as sort of this onion approach, meaning that instead of having like this tiered, like here's the lower tier, the higher tier, there's sort of a central tier of interfaces that everybody understands, right? The big parts, the small parts, and that just everybody has to conform to. But in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to have a simple set of, this is just a simple set of rules that this thing can say, I don't care what you are, man, your Wi-Fi, or I don't care. Our view model just is tired. It's like, man, I don't want to know about your Wi-Fi problems or your serial port wires or your Bluetooth pairing issue. Just give me the bytes, right? So that's what this interface is a very high level view. That's what its purpose is to just give the view model just a nice narrow stream of what it's looking for, a narrow concern. So now, if I come back to the to our code, that interface that we were just talking about is I call it iCommunication device. So, right. So basically, we have it's got a couple of methods and properties, but it's not just full of stuff. And it's basically send, read, initialize. Typically I don't use, but I have that in there just as something that in case there's some kind of a device and you can call initialize through the interface, right? Remember, you don't know what you're talking to, so we just have to have these stock methods that you can call, right? Read, all of these things are going to call read. You know, if it's a Wi-Fi or a serial port, it's going to call read, or if it's a Bluetooth, everything's going to have a device name, right? I think I default in the TCP like the device name is the actual host name, the port or something. But you can always have a device name and a description. Is connected, is usually valid. Not necessarily always, but you don't have to use it in your implementation. Close, open, close. Basically really simple. And then the very ultimate, this is what everything really is going to surround this device, this communication event. Now, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but there's a thing called event storming. Event storming, and it is a method of design where you get people who really know not about software but about the design, and you get together and let me see, you identify all of the events that are going to happen in your. Now these are by no means all the events that will happen in the software, but basically by event storming you riddle out and you just randomly, as much as you can, and basically people would do this. They would take sticky notes and put them up on a board, and different people from different departments would use different colors, and you would just like customer entered building, customer picked up, customer bought, customer or even employee punched in, employee punched out, employee took a break. All these events, right? That if you look at how businesses are run, typically, because then an event will set into a course of action, and then you set that course of action, and then like, for example, this program is an event-driven program. What's going on? Nothing. Right, it's event-driven. An event happens, and then some course of action occurs because of the event. It isn't like it's actually, we know deep down inside it is kind of looping and running. Another sip, kind of like a motor idling. But essentially, by analyzing events, then you can analyze like the methods that you're going to be calling. So one of the first things that I did was not even being smart enough to say like what I just said, but like in the beginning, I had to just kind of riddle out what the hell was going on. But it became clear that this was the central thing that communications was going to center around, because, you know, are you connected? If you haven't reached the point of being connected, then you can't do really anything else. You can't even disconnect, right? But you might have an error, right? You can be connected, and if you're connected, then you can't be disconnected. I mean, you can go on and on and on and on and on, right? So I'm just throwing that out there. There's nothing to remember in terms of the code. It's just this is how I had to think about things. So we're back to the view model. So one of the first things that we want to do in the view model. Okay, so now here we go. I'm sliding the whiteboard away because now we're just going to code, right? Okay, so let me see here. I'm just kind of setting myself up here. All right. So one of the first things that we want to do over here is we're going to want to create a communications device, right? So the interface we're going to set to null because we're open to whatever it might be. So while we construct the class, certainly in line we're not going to declare it. We could declare it. Now I just want to show you these classes over here. Basically, I have a TCP socket class and I have an RS-232 class. And if we look at the class itself, let me go all the way up to the top, get out of here. Here's RS-230. It implements the iCommunication device. It's got all this stuff, whatever, because it's a totally different deal, right, than a TCP socket. And then I go into the TCP socket class, go all the way to the top, same deal. TCP socket implements iCommunication device, right? So over here in the view model, all I want to hear about is iCommunication device. I don't want to know what it is. And it's like one of those things. It's like too much information. Just like my view model class, it's like I got stuff to do. I got bytes to send and bytes to receive. I really don't want to know about your TCP problems or your Bluetooth issues or whatever, right? Fair enough. So, but then we got to assign it. You're like, well, it can't be null. So let's do this. I don't think we have a constructor in this class. It's very small. Our view model class doesn't even have a constructor. Now I believe it's time to create a constructor. I don't know. I'm always like, where do I do this? So let's just do this public. What is this? View model. Right? Remember, the constructor doesn't have a return type, and it's public, right? So let's just right away. I have this habit of typing this all the time. You don't obviously have to do that, but it's just something I don't know. So here we go, and that can get you in trouble in JavaScript too. So if you're too crazy about it, especially if you're in a delegate. Okay, anyway. So this COM device, what are we going to do? Let's go for, let's go for a COM port. And I have something set up over here, and I'll show you in a second. So let's look at this, RS-232. We're going to use this class. This is going to be a COM port. Now, what I have done is I have configured, let's see, what I need to do is open up the device manager. Let me bring that over here so you guys can see. Now when you're looking on a PC for a Bluetooth device, you're typically going to be looking in your ports. I have all these. I don't know, like some of these are just dead or don't work, but I'm pretty sure mine is COM11. So see what I mean? Like you also have Bluetooth right down at the bottom of your screen, actually there's not this one, but at the bottom of your screen you can access your Bluetooth device. That's where you sort of pair up your device, but when you connect to it, you're just going to connect to it as a serial port. So I'm going to connect to my OBD2 Bluetooth device as COM11. Okay, Just keep that in the back of your mind. So that's why I'm using this implementation. Okay, so now we're back at the view model. So now how do I do that? Simple. New RS232. What is this RS? Do I not have? Okay, looks like I need to pull in something. Okay, just a using, that's real cheap, right? Just to pull in a using like that, but that's what I needed to bring in. Okay, and I'm going to call this, now I created this class, so I made it real easy for us, com11. Now, that's not enough. What we need to do is remember, we need to know, we need to be aware of, where is it? These things. When are we connected? When are we disconnected? When did we receive or transmit? We have to know this stuff. So let's go back to the view model, and we have that communication event. So let's go this com device communication event plus equals, and then we'll just use the tab. We'll just go with the, no, I'm going to call it something. I'm going to call it on com event, right? All right, so let's get rid of this throw system exception thing. And okay, so this is a task. So this is saying, hey, I want a task. So this could be confusing. So the very straight up answer to this is actually you just type async in front of that. And then what this wants is, it's saying it wants an await operation, which you typically would do, but it's not critical. So just to calm it down and make sure that this is not giving you any errors, you can very simply put in here, what do we put in here again? Await task. Oh, wait. Oh, because it doesn't have, no, I want you to include that, right? Let's bring that using in here so I don't have to fight with this. What am I doing? Await task delay 0, right? That's BS looking kind of a piece of code, but it made everything happy. And you may actually find in this com event, which is going to be central, this method right here is central. You will probably end up doing something asynchronous out of here. Okay, so let's just leave that alone. Now this is all legit sitting like that. Let me file, save all. Let me just, what did we do? We added this stuff. Well, let me add a couple more things. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a switch statement in here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to filter on what event. I just threw this in here, encoding. So that is a system text, right? Okay, so if you notice, in here I threw, based on our channel event args, which is a custom event args, it's going to have the event that it is. So we know when we're receiving, and we know when our client is connected or disconnected, or when we have an error. And what we're going to do is let's go to this class real quick. Go to definition. This is an event. This overrides event args. It's idisposable, so you can use it in a using. So if you want to send an event right inside of a using, you can do that because it's idisposable. What this is customized for communication events. There's a couple of objects in here that can just be assigned to whatever you want. The receiver would know, presumably, what this object is. You can just stick anything you want in here. The bytes is typically going to be the data that's coming back. Disposable is just getting rid of, or if you modify this, you want to make sure you dispose things properly here. And of course here's where our device event is actually defined, where our device event is linked to this type of event arc. Okay, so very good. This is all in the project. So I come back to so what we have is our communication. Right, we have this device event defined in our communication interface, which all of our devices have to implement. right? So they have to implement this device event, which is going to use this event args, this customized channel event args, and then now we can filter out and know exactly what's happening. Now, this is inside of the view model, and okay, so it's calling this set title, which is just setting the title. I could actually just set the property of title directly, right? But whatever. That's not important. What it is it's just falling through, whether it's connected or disconnected. If it has anything in the description, it'll just print it and report it. So now let's look at what we got here. Okay, so let's see if we compile. Can we even compile? Okay. Yeah, you got to check yourself and make sure that the stupid thing's going to compile, right? So still, we're just where we were. We just added this stuff in here. What we did is, okay, look, let's review real quick what we did. We added this interface in here, and then we applied a particular serial port implement. Okay, let's go with a. Well, we're going to test this before we go any further, but we did a serial. Well, here's a serial implementation, and we can very easily do a TCP IP implementation, right? Which is Wi-Fi. So let's say, and you would only have one of these lines, right? So here on top, let me do this. This is the TCP, or Wi-Fi, as people typically call it. And then this one below it is Bluetooth. Right? So what we have is we have the ability to only be concerned of the particular type of communication device at this point. After this point, we can just, like here in this communication event, we should never be considering whether it was Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Everything that happens in here, it's just data and events happening from the communication device. So this concept right here, where you sort of define an interface, or an interface basically is what you would use, and then apply a particular implementation to the same interface, right? Look, I could leave this in line. Compiler will let this happen. This will be assigned here, because it'll just get reassigned. But notice how these are two completely different. The code in these two classes, I'm not going to go there too much right now, but it is completely different. Completely different. But they're both going to be handled exactly the same way. This is the concept of dependency injection. This is the D in solid. This is a thing where you are making your class maintainable, because now all you care about in your class is this interface. And now actually, maybe I should go and make a .NET Core video where this is actually populated not through, this is like the caveman way. This is a oversimplistic way. This should be configured and then injected. And actually, when you work with any kind of, well, actually, the word's escaping my brain. Anyway, dependency injection is the idea where you are open to different implementations almost all the way right up to the point of runtime. And your class is prepared to handle it, but it's also the responsibility of these guys, these classes, to do all they need, to do everything that they're responsible for, so that they can deliver and say is connected. They have to say I'm connected or not. They have to provide a description and the device name. Initialize if there's any initialization to be done. I don't typically use this anywhere. Read is from olden days. You really don't ever do that. Send. Okay. Anyway, so let's get back to the heart of the matter. So now let's just go with the serial first. Okay. The thing is, is how does this actually work? How do I send? So the first thing is, remember we created these buttons up on the front? So let's come up here on the front and let's add another button. And we're going to call it the send. We'll just call it the send command. I'm not even going to bother changing the names of the other ones. The content, I don't care. Oh, this is, okay, so let's call this send. Okay, let's do this. Let's call this open, close. Sure. Open, close. Let's be consistent. Okay. Close command. Open command. Open command. Close command. Send command. Right? Makes sense. This is what's down here. I'm kind of doing this on the... Okay, that looks okay. So let's run this. I don't think any of those commands actually exist now, right? What's the matter? We're too small. Where's our... Oh, yeah, that's what I thought was going on here. All right, let's move this guy up here. Let's just make some room around here, right? Get up there. We're not getting into a gooey thing, by the way. Oh, by the way, if these things ever get sticky, if you're messing with these, sometimes just focus on your thing and then get rid of like all the crazy margins. Sometimes you'll get crazy margins and you just reset them to 0 where you can see that they're real close to something, and that'll kind of help you. Margins and padding sometimes just make things look really funky, like you can't get something right exactly. Just go to the margin. Okay, anyway, very good. So let's see if this runs. Let's start. Okay, so now let's go back to our... We changed the commands, right? So let's go back to our commands and we added one, right? So let's add, and this is going to be, I believe that one was send. You guys help me remember send. I know one, open and close, right? Open, oops, let's be proper. Open, close command. Right, okay, let's not do anything yet. Let's just make sure these all work. So I'm restarting everything. What I see errors. Oh, okay, they disappeared slowly. So we should see. Okay, so all these commands are good. So I just verified all our commands are good. So I come in here. Now these commands are no good. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to look at this, watch this. I'm just going to very simply do this. I'm going to say this, what is this, comdev, open. And then I'm going to say, check that, isn't that crazy, man? This, comdev, close. Oops, oops, oops. And then what's this send command? Okay, so this is going to be... this comdev send. I am sending an ATZ command, actually with a return. It needs a return. I'm going to send that ATZ. Oh, excuse me. I'm going to send that ATZ command. We need something. One more. There we go. Send an ATZ command. Okay, so let us see what happens. Okay, so let's start this and run. So if we go open, nothing happens. Okay, so now what is going on here? So let's see if we even get here. And see if we even get any response. So let's just... Okay, so I'm going to step here. Do I have... Okay, so there's something substantive there. Okay, see the description? It just gives me back like... Okay, communication event... But we're not getting any event here. Why are we not getting an event here? Am I? No, that's open, right? I am calling open. Okay, so let's see if that's actually happening. So let's go here. Where the heck is open? The implementation of open. See, normally you wouldn't have to look at this. All right, let me just see. Let me make sure this is even getting here. So I go open. Oh, it is. Okay. So what is the problem? Oh, connected as client. Oh, look. So it's trying to fire. It's trying to communicate. Oh, look. What the heck? What? We don't know. We don't have an event. All right. Hold on. What's going on here? So let's go open. It goes open. Close. Okay, so it's stopped there. Is there an event disconnected? Okay, I'm fooling myself somehow here, aren't I? I am thinking I'm fooling. Okay, so say open. Connected as client. Wait a minute. How do I have connected as client? Is there really? Did I really? Client connected as. No. Right. No, wrong. Client connected would be if I was a listener of a TCP and a client connected to me. That's why that's what connected as client. See? Oh boy. See, if I'm a listener and somebody connects to me as a client, that event would get sent off. So let's try this again. Let's close. This should... Oh, there's nothing in the description. Fine. I don't know if you're kind of catching that. I don't know if you... Go ahead, continue. Right, connected. Okay, so let's do this. This is what's happening. So I'll just do something very simple, right? So I say, because this is, I know the code and it's not so clear for you watching. So I say title, right, which is this is a bound property, so this will just show up. Title equals, what is this? What I got the caps on? Description. Right? No. Title will be connected. And then when we're right, because it doesn't always say this error will almost always have a description, but connected and disconnected don't necessarily have a description. All right, let's see. Oh, geez. See, this is like how maddening it gets. Okay, so here's the constructor, taking on this particular implementation of the interface. We say open. Right, there's connected. I say closed. It's disconnected. Open. Now, if I send the ATZ, yeah, it's just repeating. But ATZ means reset, so it's just repeating what's coming back to me. So, okay, so let's look at what's happening here. Now, in the title on receive end is getting. Let's see what's happening. When I send, the data that's coming in is like, look at see what's happening with the title? See how it's like a whole bunch of stuff because it's just piling up? Can you see? All right, look. I'm not sure if you can see that. Right? See how this stuff is just look, it's got a bunch of returns and new lines and stuff in it. So the data is messy right now. And you could do I think you can go, what can we do? Can we do something about that? Can we say regex something? Come on. Isn't there something in here? Come on. You know what I'm saying. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff in there. Now, one thing that you could do is, go ahead, is clear that out on the way in. Right? So one thing I can do is I can create, now remember, this right here is a function, but this is the same thing. Let's go to send. Let's just do send. This line right here, this parameter, remember the parameter itself is an action, right? So I can actually do this. I can put parentheses around here and put a semicolon at the end, and this is basically equivalent to what we just had. But now what I did is I created the ability to write a whole function, right? So what I can do is right when I send, I can say, you know, again with the this title equals string empty, right? Or what I can say, let's just clear, yeah, string empty, right? So that should clear out the title, but it's I'm sure that there's going to be more. Okay, so we know in the constructor that it's coming in here. So let's say open. Now another thing that should happen is that should be disabled. You shouldn't be able to click open, right? Once you click it, you should disable that. See, there's a whole bunch of stuff to be done here. And disabling the button is just another property is disabled based on some Boolean that you create. I mean, it's just the whole, you just keep doing the same thing over and over with the properties to different aspects of a button. What we've been changing is just the text, but you can change the visibility of a button, the whether it's enabled or not. Okay, so let's send. Okay, so here comes the data. Oh, there's the A. Okay, see it identifies ELM327 V1.5 is coming back from that device. But what do we get up here? Because of the stinking new lines. Let's just because it bothers me. Can I do this? Can I save? Okay, this is cheesy. You should use regex for this, but replace, right? We're gonna replace return. Come on, what is it? What do I keep typing in here? We're gonna replace returns with what? Nothing, right? With can I do string empty again? Right? Is that what we're doing? Yeah, that's exactly what we're doing. All right, so let's see what happens now. Start. So I go open, the button's dangerously open still, so then I say send, and what do we got here? ATZ, ELM, oh look, the new lines are gone. So let's see, oh look at that, see that? So what did it do? It sent back an echo command. Right, so I mean, it echoes everything, so it sends back, okay, so that's actually what I expect to see. So if I close this, and I send, nothing happens, right? So I got to open. It takes a second. Close. Oh, open. Send. Oh, there it is. So you see this on-com event is central. So there it is, man. Oh, okay. Wait a minute. We'll do the TCP/IP too. Send. And then you could keep sending this, right? See, now this is asynchronous. See, I have no idea when that's coming back. I just hit send and it comes back on its own. That's how basically, and you want to keep track of what you're doing on your end, on the client end. You want to know that, like, I want to disable that, but I don't want to allow the user to just keep boom, 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 boom. I can keep doing that, right? Send. But, you know, in this case, in this narrow case, it's not really doing any damage, but you definitely don't want the user to be able to do that. Okay, so let me do TCP, right? So let me, so actually I have to come over here. I have to disconnect from my Wi-Fi. I don't want this video to be too long. So now I'm plugging it. I'm getting, now I won't watch. Let me see if there's an error. I should get an error when I try to open, because I disconnected that. It's taken a long time. So this should be disabled while the computer is trying to figure out if it can connect. Because I disconnected the... yeah, it's taking a long time. Just put a breakpoint on error. Let me stop this. Start this. Oh yeah, in the meantime, let me connect my computer to that OBD2 Wi-Fi. There it is. Okay, so my computer's connected. Okay, so right now we are still configured to talk to COM11, but COM11 I don't think exists anymore. Let me see this. I don't think... Oh, it's sort of there, but I think there's going to be an error. There should be an error. So if I say open... Now, one thing I can do is in that function, when I click open... Let's see, I don't know what's going on here, man. This is truly, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what the computer... That's why you should disable things. Let me give you an example of what I'm saying. When I hit open, where's the open command, right? Remember the open command, so we'll turn this into a full multi-line function by putting the brackets in, right? Put the brackets in there, don't forget the semicolon, because now we're like a normal function, method, whatever the hell we want to call it, right? So let's do this. So what I can do now is I can say something like this, title, you know, look, watch this. I can say equals, jeez, opening. Right? So let me see. And I can... Oh, no, I don't have any... And then I could also, if I had a Boolean bound to that button's enabled or disabled, I would set it to false right here. So I'd say button is false. All right, but let me get back here. Let's redo this. So the idea is that you're giving the user cues of what's going on. So when I hit open... because it's all stuck. It's... Yeah, see, that is your classic threading kind of a situation. I don't know what is going on here, man. But, oh, yeah, actually, this will return true or false. Okay, so what you can do here is we can say this is async. Will that work? What am I doing wrong, guys? What am I doing? What am I doing wrong? Is this it? What am I doing? What am I getting wrong here? Oh, no. Come on, man. All right, you know what? I gotta cheat and look at some of my other code. I can't remember how to do it. I'm looking at some of my other code. Let me find view model. What am I doing over here in my commands? Just don't give me a hard time. Where's the commands? Commands. Unbelievable. New command async, is that how we do it? Alright, you know, so okay, I kind of messed up a little bit how to do that. Let's come back here, get out of here. So, oh no. Wait a minute. Okay, so I'm losing my freaking mind here, dudes. Okay. Just get me freaking totally irritated. Start, stop, command. Wait, I just call it a command? What the hell? Alright, I'm just whacked out of my freaking mind here, dude. Alright, just for brevity, I mean, for the sake of not being an idiot on air here, or I don't know what the hell, why I can't. Just some syntactical reason I can't make that async, but you want that to be asynchronous. Let me see. Here's a cheat. Here's a cheat. So let's say task run. This is crap. Right. So Let me see if this is such garbage. See, I'm trying to save face here, and now anybody who knows what they're doing is like, this guy, he doesn't know what he's doing. He's all freaked up. Because I can't remember the damn syntax. Will that work like that? I don't know. I just don't like when my GUI gets frozen up. Ah, see that? But see, the open should be disabled, and I should be hearing back from some... Oh, no. Actually, that's what it is. That's what it is. It'd be like, if... Now, this is... I believe that open returns a Boolean. So you just be like, if this doesn't open, you know, some kind of get out of my face thing, you know. If this doesn't open, title equals, you know, my face. You know, because I've been in here all day and I'm all worn out and I don't know what's going on. So I don't know why it didn't open. It didn't open because we disconnected the plug. But, you know, I'm all messed up. So what is if... Right, because we don't need a... We need one more of those things. Yes, right. Man, this is like a freaking... It's like a jack-in-the-box trick. All right, so let's see what happens. Open. Oh, this... Yeah. It's still frozen, right? The whole thing is frozen because... Okay, anyway, because I screwed up on these commands. These commands should be asynchronous commands up here. Okay, but the point is how to do communication. See, communications brings you into this world where now you have to start considering that you're sending things off, right, to do things, and you want the GUI to be fluid while it's doing its thing instead of frozen, right? Close. All right, so anyway, I promised. Okay, let's get this. I'm going to do this real quick. Go in here and do the TCP implementation. So let's get rid of the Bluetooth. The serial and the TCP, which I've already set up here. Okay, so this is this strange looking IP import. If anybody's not familiar, this is what these OBD2 dongles that are Wi-Fi will default to. So let's go ahead and see if this works. Okay, so I say, oh, that was fast. Did that really work? Ooh. Nice. Okay, so what's the question mark means I sent some... Question mark is something back from the... And this is the other thing, right? Now as you proceed to work with devices, you'll find different types of devices react slightly differently. Like I'm getting this question mark between the ATZ and the ELM327. Question mark typically from the ELM327 chip means I don't understand what you sent me. So something got sent in there that doesn't make any sense. But that's not a big deal. The main thing is that you have, again, right? Let me break on my receive end, and it'll just break right away when I send something. Boom, right? And there's the title. Here's the data. The data is in this event args, right? If I open this up, the data is in this data. It's literally just being bytes sent. And these data objects can be whatever you want. In this case, the data object happens to send along the actual socket. So if I wanted to do something with the actual socket, I could. But you would have to know that. See, that's the thing. The interface delivers you this channel event arg, but if you know that you're looking for something with a socket object, you can still get specific at the receiving end, at the consumer, even though everything is under the auspices of this, the communication, this one interface, this iCommunication device. So there it is, man. This is how I do communication in my software right now. This is like, if I'm going to design a system, I will pull out this basic set of structures here, and have at it, man. Now the only thing that you don't have here is what you have to do on the Android to implement the Bluetooth, but that's not really it is communications, but it's not sort of the communications framework kind of question. So hopefully this will answer the questions, especially now that you can go up to the repository and get the information, and you can mess around, man. And I will make this exact code. I will not touch this after I stop this video, and there it is. All right. You can. Oh, by the way, I'm working with ELM 327s, right? You can use hyperterminal or anything at the other end that you want to just send data back from, or any kind of serial port. But right, that's a whole other question, right? Of what are you communicating to? But this is kind of these questions were coming from people using the ELM 327s, so this should be able to answer your communications questions with regard to how this is exactly how my software talks to the ELM 327. Obviously, it gets a lot deeper. For example, if I have like a bunch of things I want to do to my ELM 327, or a set of instructions that sequential, like one has to happen, then I have to wait, and another has to happen. What I will do is I will create a queue. You have to look that up, a queue of actions. But what I'll do is I'll create the queue. I'll create like 5 or whatever it is, 10 different things you need to do, but just put them in a queue. Remember, they're actions, so they're methods. So you're saying, do this, do this, do this, call this method, call it, right? You put them in a queue, you put it aside, and then what you do is you call open, and then on the connected as client event, then you say, hey, queue, is there anything in there? And if the answer is yes, you run it. And then you just keep doing that. At the end of the queue, when the queue is done, you're like, is there anything left in the queue? Yeah, okay, then run it. And so this COM event here allows you to sort of not do anything except open the communications, wait for the communications to say, I am open, and right here at this point, then you can start doing stuff. Just like, and if you have like 7 or 8 different things you need to do, put them in an action, create a queue of methods or actions, and then call those actions sequentially, one after another. When you're done, call disconnect and get out of here. And then, of course, look for errors and be careful, of things like that. It's all man-made crap, man. Programmers are like lawyers, not like lawyers and doctors are not the same. Because lawyers and programmers, we just deal with crap we made, right? We don't deal with anything God made or anything natural. Like a doctor deals with diseases and cells and genetics, right? They don't. A doctor is closer to a painter. A painter will deal with the colors and frequencies of paints and being very subtle with things, and but a painter, she didn't create colors, didn't create all of the richness, like a doctor didn't create the heart. But lawyers and programmers and like freaking stupid like reporters, we just sit around and just fiddle around with the crap we created. All right, I just wanted to throw that out there, man. Oh man, I almost forgot. I have the... forget it. I was going to play a little jingle at the end, but I totally killed it with my almost forgot thing. All right, so anyway, thanks a lot for coming by. I hope you enjoyed everything. This was a technical thing. Blah, 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 blah. Have a great day. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Take care.